The meme industry is projected to reach $6.1 billion this year. That's an annual growth rate of 21.6%. That's 4 times faster than the entire fashion industry. One well-placed meme has more economic impact than the entire Milan Fashion Week. Just Google Pope in Balenciaga. So why should you care? Well, we're reaching a point where millennials, that's you, are now in executive positions. Your job is growth, okay? Whether that's growing an audience, a personal brand, or a business. And memes are currently outperforming everything. In this video, we're going over the psychology behind them, how companies successfully implemented meme marketing, and how you can use it without being cringe in the process. Welcome to Alux, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Okay, so before we get into all the nitty-gritty strategies, let's just take a moment to acknowledge that meme marketing is, well, it's kind of weird. I mean, how do we even get to the point where companies are making cringy Reddit posts and roasting their Twitter followers instead of advertising like normal? Well, the truth is, humor's been a part of marketing since the very beginning. Back in the early 1900s, when the field of advertising was just starting to figure itself out, witty slogans and playful jingles were the cutting edge. Coca-Cola had upbeat and playful slogans like "the pause that refreshes," connecting their brand to joy and togetherness. Campbell's Soup nailed it with their good jingle, which became a cultural staple. And another great example is Kellogg's Corn Flakes with its slogan, "the original and best." These slogans weren't just clever. People remembered them because they were sticky, simple, and you couldn't escape them. For a while, that made a lot of people a lot of money, but when radio came along in the 30s, everything changed. Advertising over the airwaves was totally different because if listeners got bored or annoyed, they would switch to another channel. Now, advertisers had to figure out how to keep people entertained while simultaneously getting their message across. And one of the best ways, of course, was to make them laugh. One popular way to do that was through comedic skits. So for example, Pepsodent toothpaste ads used a recurring character who made listeners laugh while promoting cleaner teeth. Jell-O took it a step further, starting an entire radio show themselves with one of the most famous comedians in the US at the time. And it worked. Listeners stayed engaged and sales skyrocketed, but just when advertisers thought they'd mastered radio, television arrived. Suddenly, humor wasn't just heard, it was seen. Like, for example, in the 1960s, when Volkswagen started selling cars in America, they launched the Think Small campaign. Instead of bragging about being flashy, they poked fun at their small cars. It was bold, self-deprecating, and it worked. In the 80s, McDonald's was probably leading the pack with their Ronald McDonald and the Hamburglar skits. Kids would see those and beg their parents to take them. In the 90s, though, funny TV ads were becoming something else. Geico managed to make insurance, of all things, entertaining by creating the Geico Gecko, a character who was annoyed so that many people called him thinking they could save thousands on car insurance. And of course, remember Budweiser's "What's Up" campaign in 1999? You know the one, it was just a group of friends saying "What's up" over the phone, but it went viral before viral was even a thing. People were repeating that in their daily lives, and it became a hallmark of pop culture at the time. But once the internet came along and millions of people started using it, well, advertising was never the same. Every once in a while, some brand makes an ad that was universally appealing, and the internet would make sure to spread it far and wide. Like in 2005, Nike released a video of Ronaldinho pulling off an unbelievable football trick with Nike boots on, and it was the first YouTube video to hit 1 million views. Or in 2007, Cadbury Chocolate released a video of a gorilla passionately playing the drums to "In the Air Tonight," and even though it had absolutely nothing to do with chocolate, it went insanely viral. But you know, the truth is, brands had a hard time adapting to the internet. Back in the days of TV, just about everyone was watching the same shows. It was a pretty unified culture, right? Even if you had a few dozen channels to choose from, that's nothing compared to the millions of websites, Facebook groups, and YouTube channels on the internet. Every single one of these online groups had developed their own language, their own inside jokes, and their own microculture. As an advertiser, you were no longer thinking about just one unified group to send a message to. With every passing year, reaching a broad audience got harder and harder for brands until slowly, some of them began to crack the code. When Twitter came along, brands began to engage with regular people, but often in weird ways. Fast food brands were especially good at this. You would log onto Twitter and see Wendy's roasting McDonald's for their broken ice cream machines. Taco Bell got into fights with just about anybody, and Denny's often encouraged people to get married at their location in Vegas. The internet gave brands the freedom to experiment, to get weird, and to connect in ways that TV never could. They weren't just selling products anymore, they were becoming part of the culture itself. But as social media has evolved, brands have had to evolve with it. New platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok came with new challenges and new opportunities. Some brands have faded into obscurity, some have survived, and a select few have managed to make billions from social media because they finally cracked the code. Their strategy? Memes. Now, it's no coincidence that meme marketing has taken off in the internet age. In a world where attention spans are short and competition for eyeballs is fierce, traditional ads just don't cut it anymore. But memes are the ultimate example of guerrilla marketing for the digital era. Low cost, unconventional, and designed to surprise. But what actually is it about memes that make them such a great marketing tool? How do they grab our attention, stick in our minds, and make us trust the brands behind them? Well, it all comes down to psychology, and to show you how it works, let's break down some of the most iconic and most effective meme marketing campaigns from today's biggest brands. Alright, so few brands have mastered meme marketing quite like Duolingo, right? If you've ever scrolled through TikTok, chances are you've seen their infamous green owl mascot, Duo, in one of their chaotic skits. In one video, Duo might be sobbing dramatically when someone ignores their streak. In another, he's breaking into somebody's home to remind them to finish their lessons, or holding their dog hostage until they finish their Spanish lessons. It's absurd, it's funny, and it's painfully relatable to anyone who's ever struggled to stay consistent with learning a new language. And that's exactly why it works. Memes thrive on shared experiences, those moments where you see something and think, "Oh, that is so me." By tapping into this universal guilt of putting off a task that you know you should be doing, Duolingo connects with its audience on a deeply personal level. It's not just about selling a language app. It's about relating to their audience in a way that feels natural, funny, and undeniably human. Memes are the perfect medium for that. But when it comes to turning frustration into comedy gold, well, Ryanair is in a league all its own. Now, Ryanair has built a name for itself as one of Europe's cheapest airlines, often at the expense of legroom and customer service and generous bag policies. For years, they were the airline that you'd love to hate, the one you would book for the price but complain about during the journey. Let's just say that Ryanair has a reputation, but, instead of running away from it, they embraced it. If you've spent any time on TikTok, you've probably come across their brutally honest and hilariously self-aware videos. Using a simple face filter on the nose of a plane, they crack jokes about everything from their hidden fees to their windowless window seats and customers who travel with jeans. On Twitter, they often sarcastically clap back at complaints saying, "Oh, you expected legroom on a €10 flight? Adorable." It's self-deprecating, brutally honest, and perfectly tailored to the kind of humor their audience loves. This strategy works because of its shareability. When a brand can make people laugh at a universal experience, like the quirks of traveling on a budget, well, that creates content that people just can't resist sharing. By leaning into their imperfections and using humor as a weapon, Ryanair flips what could be negative press into viral moments. They turn complaints into content and passengers into fans, making their audience feel like they're in on the joke rather than the joke's target. It's proof that memes can help you turn even the most infamous reputation into a marketing superpower. And in the age of social media, fast food brands like Wendy's, McDonald's, and Burger King, well, they've turned their rivalry into a marketing spectacle. It all started with Wendy's, the undisputed pioneer of Twitter humor. So while most brands played it safe, Wendy's decided to take a risk with savage roasts. Their infamous Roast Me campaigns encouraged fans to insult them, and they, of course, had their own 2 cents to say about it. When one user tweeted asking for directions to the nearest McDonald's, Wendy's fired back with a picture of a trash can. They've also gone and called Burger King food inedible and Chick-fil-A's mom a hoe. When it comes to fast food, the competition isn't just about burgers and fries, no, it is also clearly about personality. And that's why pretty much every big consumer brand has tried to replicate Wendy's Twitter strategy in some way, because when it's done right, this kind of humor humanizes them. It makes them feel like real people you'd want to follow, not faceless corporations trying to sell you something. Traditional ads they just cannot replicate that. And plus, a little sass can go a long way. Now, if one thing about internet culture is certain though, it is that it's constantly changing. And that's hard to deal with for most companies, but there's one that turned this into their greatest advantage. Blend Tech proved that with the right strategy, even the most mundane products can become internet sensations. So the concept was simple. Anytime a new trend took the world by storm, or a new tech product or movie dropped, Blend Tech would upload a YouTube video that at first seemed like just another review. But then they remind you about the real question on everyone's mind: will it blend? And apparently, a lot of stuff does. When the iPad came out, millions of people watched in awe as the Blend Tech Total Blender reduced it to dust in glorious slow motion. It wasn't just with tech either. Blend Tech blended everything from golf balls to glow sticks to action figures, often tying them to major events or viral trends. In one iconic episode, they blended a stormtrooper featured during the hype around a new Star Wars movie. They didn't just create content randomly. They stayed one step ahead of trends, and it helped them to sell millions of dollars worth of blenders. Internet culture is lightning fast, but whether it was a product launch or a pop culture event, Blend Tech's Will It Blend series captured that moment by proving that a well-timed joke can turn even the most ordinary product into something pretty extraordinary. And that's all fine and good, but what about good old-fashioned memes, right? Well, there's nobody who does those better than Netflix. Rather than just promoting their shows through traditional ads, Netflix transforms its content into cultural moments by leaning heavily into meme culture. They consistently leverage meme-worthy moments from shows like Stranger Things, Squid Game, and even older hits like Narcos. They pull out quirky character expressions, relatable quotes, or dramatic scenes, and turn them into shareable posts that dominate social feeds. These posts are actually ads for Netflix, but on a regular doom-scrolling session, you couldn't even tell. They're just as entertaining as anything else you'd come across. And that's why this strategy works like magic. Netflix blurs that line between advertising and entertainment. Instead of pushing traditional promotions, they embed their shows into internet culture, making them feel like a natural part of everyday online conversation. This approach, it doesn't just promote their content, it deepens the emotional connections with their audience. Fans don't just watch a show, they share it, meme it, and talk about it, creating a ripple effect of engagement that brings new viewers into the fold. And at the end of the day, Netflix is a cultural engine, and memes are the fuel that keep it running. But what does all of this mean for the future of business? Because look, meme marketing is not a fad, it's a reflection of how the internet has completely reshaped the way businesses connect with their customers. Today, some companies are even building their entire identities around humor and memes. Take Liquid Death, for example. Their products look like something in between a beer and a Monster energy drink, but it's just a regular water with an extra coat of rebellion, humor, and edge. Their brand is equal parts absurd and brilliant. Memes are a new language. For businesses, memes aren't just a shift in marketing. No, it's a new language that you have to understand and participate in, not just to observe from the sidelines. But the real beauty of meme marketing is that it's accessible. You don't need a billion-dollar budget or a team of experts to reach thousands, sometimes millions of people, and that's the exciting part. In today's digital age, the tools to create, connect, and influence are already in your hands. The question is, how will you use them? If you're ready to take control of your future, the Alux app is here to help you do just that. With daily insights, expert courses on personal growth, finance, and all the tools you need to unlock your full potential, the Alux app is your companion for turning your bold ideas into big wins. And the best part is that inside you can actually see as you make progress towards your goals in real time. Hundreds of thousands of successful entrepreneurs, professionals, and ambitious people have already made Alux a part of their daily routines because of the simple reason that it gets real results. It works. Through our app, one of our biggest goals is to help create 1,000 new millionaires, and we actually just got an email recently from the latest to join the Alux millionaire ranks. Congratulations, Clarence. If you'd like to join Clarence and everyone else building the lives that they've been dreaming about, you gotta start putting the work in, and the most streamlined way to compound the knowledge you need is to download the Alux app. And to sweeten the deal, if you download and scan this QR code on screen, you'll get an incredible 50% off the annual membership. But look, okay, this is the last day to take advantage of that offer. Once you're inside, it's as simple as typing in the big milestones you're working toward this year and following the step-by-step plan that we make for you. Let this be the year that you look back and think, that's when my life really took off, because if there's one thing you'll never regret investing in, it is your education. And on that note, Aluxer, we're going to wrap it up here for today, but we'll see you back here next time. Until then, take care, my friend.